Hello everyone and everyone. I'm actually working on the topic of financial freedom. This is a very good article that I am preparing to share with you. I am also very excited. However, I haven't finished recording yet. A few days ago I had a rather interesting story. And it's also somewhat related to investment, so I quickly collected this number to share with you guys. Talking about personal investment, I started personal financial investment activities for myself quite a long time ago. I will share more details in the issue about financial freedom. During my entire investment process, I have accumulated a number of experiences. And in today's topic, I will share with you 2 lessons that I really care about. Although this article has some details about the crypto market. However, I would also like to say first that what I say has nothing to do with me giving advice or giving you a way to analyze the crypto market to see if it is up or down, and I am not either. Is there an intention to encourage or discourage you from investing there? The 2 messages I want to share are from a completely different perspective. I have never shared or talked about cryptocurrency before. So today will be the first time I break the rules to talk about this topic. But again, I want to emphasize the message I want to share. It doesn't have much to do with investing in digital currency. So to start, let me tell you about the story and how I learned about cryptocurrency. Surely some of you here know about the main field that I work in, which is the technology field, and I have the good fortune to work in the financial industry in Australia for quite a while. Starting from the early years when I first came to Australia, one of the first companies I worked for was Commonwealth Bank. Commonwealth Bank is the largest bank in Australia specialising in investing in technology. Then when I moved to another field, the main customer I was in charge of was ANZ Bank, abbreviated as Australia and New Zealand Bank Group Limited. Later, I did a few more short projects with NAB, National Australia Bank, which is also another large Australian bank. And after finishing my job in the banking industry, I moved to work for a fintech company, meaning financial technology companies. They apply technology to the financial sector. The company I work for has a number of joint projects with a number of other banks, especially Westpac Bank. So counting, I have worked with all 4 of the largest banks in Australia. Already. In Australia they call it Big 4. That's because he has worked for a long time. Being in the finance and technology industry, because of that, I had the opportunity to be exposed to cryptocurrency from a very early age. At that time, most of the people who talked about cryptocurrency were mostly working in the technology field, more precisely fintech in financial technology. When I first learned about cryptocurrency, I was very interested. However, at that time, I didn't buy or sell anything. I just wanted to learn about the technology aspect. Then share more with you about Bitcoin at that time. At that time, most of the people in the crypto exchange community were mostly technical people. Another group were financial people. But at that time, most people discussed from a technical perspective or discussed blockchain technology or discussed technical aspects of finance. Now, let me tell you more about the story. For a long time there was an argument in this community that divided into 2 groups. One group has the view that Bitcoin is a currency. Basically, this group sees it as a tool for payment, and the other group tends to see Bitcoin as a tool to store value like gold. After a lot of debate, people gradually started to see it more as a storage tool. The reason is that in some technical aspects, Bitcoin has 2 big problems. Firstly, Bitcoin's payment speed is quite slow. To give you an idea, imagine that you go out to eat a burger, then notice that you usually pay by credit card. So from the time it takes me to scan the card onto the payment machine, it will take somewhere around 2 seconds to 3 seconds. So the screen can display information. Then I press the password and that's it. Actually, it's not finished yet, but I'll talk about it in more detail later. So it's very complicated. So just consider it from a user perspective and consider it done. But sometimes when you encounter certain situations, such as a slow network, it will take longer. At that time, you and the seller will stand looking at each other for about 5 to 10 seconds waiting. With Bitcoin, this time period is much longer, up to 5 to 10 minutes or even more. In this regard alone, Bitcoin is almost impossible to satisfy as a payment tool. In addition, Bitcoin and other current digital currencies also have another problem. The fluctuation range in their value is very large. That means its price fluctuates with a very high amplitude. So let me give you an example so you can imagine it. Now, when you eat a burger, when you buy it, it costs $10, but when you finish eating, its value is only $5 or it increases to $15. That means its value amplitude is very fast. This factor is very difficult to make as a payment tool. You notice that most fiat currencies can go up and down, but with a small margin except in special cases like the Venezuelan currency. During that period when it loses value. Today you hold $10 to buy a burger. The next day you have to pawn $100 to buy a similar burger. That is an example of the value of Bitcoin, which increases and decreases with a very large amplitude. But actually, in the beginning, Bitcoin did not increase much, so the main topic of debate at that time was mostly payment speed. In addition, there are a number of other limitations, and because of such limitations, gradually the community's opinion about Bitcoin will be more inclined towards a storage tool than a payment tool. That is the reason why most people now compare Bitcoin with gold. Not many people compare it with money anymore. It was also at that time that I started learning about Ethereum because at that time I was very interested in the smart contract concept of Ethereum. I will not go into detail about technical issues, because that is not the main purpose of this video. But basically, Ethereum was created as an ecosystem, not just a tool. And as for smart contract, it helped solve many of the limitations of what I just mentioned above of Bitcoin. Going back to the story of Bitcoin, at that time, I was with a group of friends from the same company and those friends were very good at technology. We were very passionate about technology and finance. So the whole group continuously learns deeply about this blockchain. There are even times when we continuously hold meetings to discuss this topic, such as lunch or break time. At that time, I and a friend in the company, this friend is Swiss, we decided to form a team to do a project related to blockchain. Our project won second prize and received this award. If it was $3,000, we divided this amount in half and decided to use this amount to buy Bitcoin as a souvenir. And again, at that time, most people did not know what crypto was except for technology people like us. Because it was very cheap at that time, not many people were interested in its financial concept. As I said earlier, if we buy it, we buy it for a few $100s for the main purpose of research. But no one has the thought of investing or making a profit from it. This time, when we took the money to buy it, we also had the same mindset, mainly buying it as a souvenir. so that tomorrow there will be stories to tell each other for fun. Then we divided the prize into two. If my friend worked with me, he used $1,500 to buy exactly 2 Bitcoins, with a bit of money left over. I also used my $1,500 to buy 100. At that time, ETH was only $12 or so in general there was still a little left over. Then we take that extra amount to lunch. Another reason is that we bought some Lakechers to try, and here we want to buy them for storage. Actually, it's okay to buy a little for storage, but if we already have the purpose of making memories, we'll just buy more. Let me quickly explain to those who don't know. When you own crypto, it will have 2 types of storage. One is a hot wallet, the other is a cold wallet. Hot wallet is like this: you have gold, you keep it in the bank. As for cold wallets, it's like buying gold and bringing it home to keep in a safe, keeping that gold yourself. That's the story why I have 100 Ethereum coins. To tell you more, if I still kept these 100 Ethereum coins until now, I would have about $340,000. After buying it, my friend kept 2 Bitcoins and I kept 100 ETH. My friend bought it and put it in his wallet. We left it there and didn't pay attention to it. For a whole year, we also forgot about that buying period. It wasn't until 2017 that people talked a lot about crypto and the market then started to increase a lot. And to tell you the truth, our group's feeling at that time was extremely surprising as to why it increased so much. Even though we have been learning about crypto for quite a long time, we still have more or less confidence in this technology. But when we saw it increasing like that, we were all surprised, and to be honest, we were sad. It's a shame why we found out so early and didn't buy more. We kept watching it increase every day but didn't understand why it increased like that and were very surprised about it. The peak we still remember was around November 2017, and it was almost my birthday. Then I decided to stop being greedy because the profit was too much, and I decided to sell half of my ETH. I sold it at that time for $400. Now anyone who hears me say I sold ETH for $400 will probably laugh at me keeping it. But remember, I bought it at $12, and at this time ETH was priced at $400, meaning I made a profit of 4,000%, and actually I had no intention of buying it to invest or anything. It's all over, so it's almost like I have a bunch of money that falls from the sky and that's all I want. So I decided to stop because it's so great, so I took it out and sold half of it. I remember that I sold it for about $20,000, and I remember very clearly that I spent about $5,000 to buy a MacBook Pro, and at that time I chose almost the highest configuration. The remaining money I put into the stock market is where I have seriously invested from the past until now, not just buying for fun like ETH. And sometimes when I think back, I still regret that those 50 ETH coins that I kept until today were worth more than $170,000. But having said that, I don't really regret it. In fact, if I ignore the stock market, that period is still very profitable. Now, anyone who has followed my story up to this point will know that I still have 50 ETH left. At the end of December of that year, I decided to sell everything and only kept 10 coins as a souvenir, and after that I had nothing to do with crypto investment anymore. Actually, it's not right to say investment because up to now, you can see that I only bought it once. That time we bought it to celebrate our project winning second prize. It's not right to say it's an investment anymore. This is the message I want to share with everyone through this video. so this part is very important. The reason why I decided to sell everything is to note to you that at that time the price of crypto was increasing dramatically and almost everyone in the market or the press was predicting it. Guess the Bitcoin price could rise to $50,000 or $100,000. The price of ETH can increase from a few dozen to $100,000. But why did I decide to sell everything at that time and consider exit from this market? All of this is because I learned from a previous saying by someone I respect a lot. What does that saying mean? As I mentioned above, during my time working at the bank, I came into contact with many people in the elite investment world. Thanks to that, I learned a lot from this person. And among them was a man I knew named Tim. This person was the one who taught me a saying that I still keep in my head until now. This sentence actually wasn't made up by him, but he was the one who taught me this sentence. When your taxi driver shows you those investment tips, it's time to selling. The meaning of this sentence is not to disparage taxi drivers but rather those who do not have experience. Once they learn a little bit about this and that, people tend to think they are already experts. This is an effect called the Dunning and Kruger effect. The meaning of this saying is that when the market has too many people, that is the time you should avoid. Well, Mr. Warren Buffett also has a very famous saying that, you must be afraid when others are greedy and you must be greedy when others are afraid. What he means is that when the market is crazy, it is the market. When the market is at its craziest, then it's time to be cautious. When the market is scared and people are talking negatively about the market, then it's time to consider buying.